Everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I had a really cool day. I got to visit my hometown of Baltimore, and I got to walk through my old neighborhood where I lived previously before moving down here on the Eastern Shore. And it got me to thinking, like, what do I miss most about Baltimore and what do I not miss? Like, what are the things I love most about the city and what do I dislike, or what are the things I don't miss at all? So I came up with 10 things that I like and 10 things I don't. One of the things I love about Baltimore is the food. They have some of the best wings. They have the most awesome crabs. Maryland does in general, but I think Baltimore has more crab locations where the Eastern Shore really doesn't have that. I love that about being from Baltimore. You have access to everything, which brings me to number 2. I love especially living in the Northeast, I love how you're adjacent to shopping. I love being close to Towson and in White Marsh, but also from downtown. Because actually in Northeast, if you stand in one road, you can actually see the skyline of the downtown area from there. Number 3, I love being adjacent to different states. Like, you know, you're in Baltimore, you're about an hour and a half from Philly, you know, an hour from Delaware, an hour from DC, about an hour and 20 minutes from West Virginia, 2 hours from New Jersey. So I love being in that corridor as well. Number 4, I love the neighborhood of Northeast. I love especially the neighborhood of Beverly Hills. It's amazing there. And it's not, you know, it's not Beverly Hills because it's like some high class area. It's actually called Beverly Hills because it's on a hill. And I actually love that area. It's a lot of peaceful, you know, dog walking there, places to run, places to jog, a lot of nice people, great community. I actually love that about that area. Number 5, what I really love about Baltimore is I love inner city rain, you know, loving how rain appears when it falls off of buildings or when it's in the streets of traffic. I love that. That's one of the times I go shopping the most is when I'm in Baltimore or when I'm in Philly, but I always shop when it's raining. I'm not a big fan of like congestion and a lot of people out and about. I love like that time where you can kind of concentrate and focus on what you want to get and just have yourself a good time. It's pretty cool to do that. And rain is the best weather because it keeps all the crazies off the street, man. Number 6, obviously, you know, I really miss, you know, my roots, man. You know, I grew up in Baltimore City. So to me, that's always going to be home no matter where I am, no matter where I find myself, no matter where I've lived. Baltimore is always going to be home. So I think that inner piece of home always kind of hits me hard sometimes. Number 7, I have friends back in Baltimore, so sometimes I miss kicking it with the friends. Not like that so much anymore, but every now and then I miss the times that I had there. Obviously, you grow apart as friends and family, so you don't have the type of time that you used to have. But I have a lot of great memories there as well. So sometimes I miss things like that. Not very often, though. I'm more of an independent spirit, you know. So when I see people, I see people. When I don't, I don't. That's sort of how I do my life now. Number 8, being a Catholic, I love the Catholic school system there, and I love the Catholic education system there. Baltimore is very rich in religion. It's very rich in Catholicism. There's a lot of Catholic school and education opportunities. I grew up in that system, so I'm a big fan of that. Number 9 is the Catholic churches. I love being around so many Catholic churches because if you're running late for Mass, you can catch one in any type of zip code or corridor in the city. And even in downtown alone, we have like 10 Catholic churches just sitting in downtown. So I love that. And number 10, what I miss most, I love the resources in Baltimore. You have everything, not only in the downtown area, but in Towson and in White Marsh. You have so many outlets to take care of business there. I love that. You know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, I do miss home at times. 10 things I don't like about Baltimore. I don't like the corners, people hanging on the street corners. That's a big turn off for me. I'm not a big fan of that. And it's still, you see it to this day. I'm not a big fan of that, you know, people hanging on the corners. I actually don't like panhandling. That's another thing I don't like about Baltimore. You have a high homeless rate. You have a lot of panhandlers that bug you for money and things like that. And that's a turn off too as well. I don't miss the streets. Basically, I mean the actual construction of the streets. Baltimore has some of the worst roads you'll drive. They have a lot of potholes and steel plates and bumpy roads, and I've never been a fan of that. That's always been a turnoff. I definitely don't miss the crime in Baltimore as number 4. Baltimore is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, but it's also one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And I've lived there, and with that, you have to embrace the good with the bad, but it is a dangerous city, so I'm not a big fan of the crime, even though it's everywhere you go, it's really there. Number 5, I really don't miss, the speed cameras and the lights and stuff like that to catch you if you drive through them and stuff. You don't have that problem down here on the Eastern Shore. In Baltimore City, every light you go to seems like it either has a speed camera, or if you miss time the light, you're gonna get a ticket or something like that. I'm lucky enough to not get any, but I'm just saying they have that system there, and it's become a gold mine for the city, so I'm not a big fan of that. Number 7, I don't like the price of housing there. I don't like it. Housing and cost of living is very high in Baltimore. It's one of the biggest turnoffs of why I don't plan on ever moving back. I was actually looking at some houses today with my mom in the area where she lives. And, some of these houses are, $400,000 or $500,000 and need so much work. It's ridiculous. Even though the neighborhood's beautiful, the houses haven't been invested in many, many years. Baltimore is a very high cost of living. I'm not a big fan of that. Next to traffic. I'm not a big fan of Baltimore traffic, especially inner city traffic. It can be so congested that the distance you travel could be 2 miles, and it could take you a half hour to travel those 2 miles. Sometimes it's like that with all the construction and stuff downtown. Next, what I really don't like about Baltimore, I really don't like how they've changed the downtown look a little bit to more restaurants and shopping. They've kind of changed that a little bit through Baltimore, and I'm not a big fan of that. And third and last, I don't like the Ravens, man. I've never been a Ravens fan. I will never be a Baltimore sports fan. That's one thing I don't like about Baltimore is the sports teams there. I'm a Pittsburgh everything, Pennsylvania everything. I don't like sports teams in Baltimore. Never will root for them. Never will cheer for them. It's just I like good sports teams like Steelers. Historically great. I'm a big Pirates fan. I just have really been a Pennsylvania fan my whole life, so I'm not a big fan of that. So those are the things I dislike. I love, the town of Easton. I fell in love with this town that I'm moving into. It reminds you of a Hallmark movie town. If you ever watched a Hallmark movie, I'm a big fan of town now, townships, and where you have the downtown businesses, and you also have the downtown atmosphere, but it's not overly crowded. It's not overly congested. It's peaceful. You have ice cream shops. You have, different spas and stuff down there. I like that look. It's really been something that I've been thinking about for a while. That's what kind of drove me to the area of Easton that I'm going to. I really love that. Outside of that, that's about it. Stay tuned for my next video. Peace.